Showing respect is crucial, but there are also limits. And I would like to ask, it's a long time ago, but I remember this picture because President Obama is so tall. And it was that visit in Japan where he greeted the former emperor of Japan, Emperor Akihito, who is short, much shorter, in front of this tall President Obama. And what he did, he bowed extremely deeply. And there was that picture in the press. So two countries were having different opinion about that. Of course, in Japan, they were very happy. They thought it was very respectful. But in the US, they thought our president shouldn't go that deep, especially because he's so tall. That picture looked really like, it was like 90-degree, bend. What do you say about that? That's what I'm saying. Respect is one thing, but are there limits? And I'm sure there was a reason.
Well, yes, you note this so well, Julie. There are limits, and I had drafted a memo to the president on bowing because we now needed to address the social codes of conduct in Japan. Yes. Very different from the United States when it comes to greetings, when it comes to handshakes versus bows. How would that all be conducted? And as the president of the United States, as the leader of our country, they are not to bow at all, ever, to another head of state, chief of state, or head of government. They can acknowledge the bow with a nod of the head, but by bowing, and in particularly bowing as low as he did, it makes you subservient to that person.
Yes.
And he certainly did not have that intention.
Yes.
His intention, we believe, and I frankly never had a full-on conversation with him about this, but it was his upbringing. He was brought up in a culture in Indonesia. Later on, after he was born in Hawaii, his family had moved for a little bit of time to Indonesia. And in Indonesia, the culture is that to those who are elderly, your elders, you are to bow. And so it's instinctive in him to just offer that courtesy, that show of respect.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I of course had a conversation with him afterwards of, sir, we don't bow. And what was regrettable about that was, again, that the bow, it distracted from the engagement with the emperor, because everybody was talking about the fact that the president did bow as opposed to their relationship, the discussion, and all of that.
And
that,
so
I was very, every time before, and it was wonderful. I had not even gone to Japan on that trip. I had leaped ahead to China because that was a state visit. The Japanese visit was really a stopover, a very a friendly, cordial visit, whereas the visit to China was incredibly complex. It was our first engagement with Hu Jintao. We were already having a few issues that I needed to attend to. So when I heard it, I was like, oh no, why was I not there? And from there on in, I was always with the president, no matter what. But what did happen, gratefully for me, was that before he would walk out, as soon as he was finished, if he got out of his car, when he arrived to a room, he'd turn to me and say, okay, Capricia, what are my 1, 2, 3s? He wanted to make sure there were no gaffes, and he waited for me to tell him if there were any issues that he needed to be aware of. And it was, and that's a great rapport a chief of protocol can have with their leader, because they look to you for that advice and depend upon you to make sure that they don't salute a military general of another country, like what happened in our last administration, a general from a country that we don't recognize. There are these gaffes again that happen and can be really enormous distractions.
I saw actually something different in the picture, except it's such a pity, as you said, that everything was so focused on, him bowing and how low. I actually saw, of course, because he's tall, it really looked like that. But I thought the emperor was having a Western suit on, which I thought it was mutual respect to your culture, and President Obama respect to his culture. In Japan, how they would do in front of the emperor. So it was like two sides. And usually the emperor won't shake hand, but he did. So that picture is actually beautiful, but it tells so many stories, pro and cons. But I saw the pros. So because I saw two people, the emperor having a Western suit on and, stretching him the hand, which he doesn't have to. And on the other side, President Obama bowing that deeply. So it was a mutual respect in both cultures.
There really was. And in the end, as you point out, Julie, it is the acknowledgement between those two individuals, whether they are two presidents, two business people, or, two friends. What does that, do they feel respected? Do they feel honored, or do they feel offended? Yes. And, you want to always avoid the offenses.
Exactly.
And
especially, try to, especially if you are the visitor.
Absolutely.
In the host country, you want to respect their culture. Well, okay, let's leave it there.